Everybody, we are back. It is Tape to Lash, favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 35% off, and being presented by Dogs Media Network, and of course, get you a shirt, guys. Get you a shirt. So, Matt, we're back. This week we got some more interesting players here. I'm doing Tre Tucker, and then you're doing Jack Jones, Mr. Number One Corner. I saw your article. I saw it on Facebook, and people were angry at you, bro. That they didn't.
Sounds about right.
Jack Jones. Yeah. The Facebook guys were angry. Let's say that. So. Yeah, because really nothing else going on this week. Just nothing crazy, nothing really noteworthy to even talk about. So OTS is over. There's nothing really happening. Let's get right into this film. Jack Jones. What were your thoughts on Jack Jones, who brought a lot of buzz as confidence and made some plays for the Raiders last season?
Yeah, so I mean, I think part of the reason why I got so much hate on Facebook is one, because it's a bunch of grumpy old people. But for two, yeah, I mean, kind of the premise I wanted to go here is like, obviously we know Jack Jones can make the splash plays. We saw him have the 2 pick sixes, and that's obvious. So I just kind of wanted to see like, okay, what's the other side of that? Where does he need to grow and where does he need to develop? So may come across as a little more negative than I necessarily intended to. But again, just kind of looking at where he needs to do to take that next step and really be that CB1 that the Raiders are hoping he's going to be able to be this season. And I think one of the biggest things, one of my biggest takeaways was just his eye discipline in zone. Like he's good at like reading releases or reading routes and like jumping routes when he's playing man. Like there were a couple times where he just like ran the route for receivers, and there were plenty of reps like that. But he like does I forget what term you use, like when I think we were talking about Trey Taylor, where like he's like a quarterback watcher. Is that what you call it? Yeah. Where he gets caught with his eyes in the backfield a lot, like, and that kind of got him into some trouble in a few of the clips that we'll see. And even when he is in man coverage, like he's the guy that he likes to read like the quarterback's drop and like do that. And like he'll occasionally like he'll have a few reps where like he'll end up jumping the route and being able to get a pick six. But he also gets burned with that a little bit too. Like someone in the comment section on Silver and Black Friday, the article was like basically like talking about him being a boomer bust player, and it's can't agree with that anymore. To me, the prototype that you're kind of hoping he'll be is a guy like Trevon Diggs, where Trevon Diggs will give up a ton of yards. You go on PFF, he's usually leading the league in yards allowed, but he also gets 6-7 picks or whatever it is, or however many he had when he like was breaking the record and stuff like that kind of make up for it, where you can live with him giving up 30 yards if he ends up picking it off and creating a turnover at the end of the day. So that's kind of the player that you're looking at with Jack Jones. And again, it's just a lot of it's the eye discipline, a little bit of situational awareness too. Occasionally kind of got to him, but so he's an interesting guy to watch. And I think again, part of it too is he was picking up a new playbook midway through the year, which is not easy to do. So got to cut him a little bit of slack there. But yeah, going to go over his game against the Vikings, which was one of his lowest graded from PFF, and I think he had I think they gave him like 9 targets, something like that, and had to give up 7 completions, and like 2 of them, or at least one of them was drops or something like that, or one of the incompletions was a drop. So yeah, he's an interesting player. And again, I don't mean this to be I'm down on Jack Jones or anything like that. Just kind of looking at the perspective of, hey, where does this guy need to do to develop, which does get into a lot of nitpicking territory.
Yeah, I mean, if you do look at his PFF grades, I just was pulling it up. I mean, he has a game of 94, 88, 78, but then he has a 53, and a 58, and a 40, and a 40.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the Colts game, I know what plays he was kind of messed up on, especially the big play on the Colts' first drive. He had a big mistake there. So I remember that one. But yeah, so you could tell he's a boomer bust. But it depends on like the game plan and what they do and what the pass rush does. And that's where you see him kind of come in, because if he's jumping stuff, then he's going to start jumping things and make some picks when quarterbacks got to make quick decisions. And that's what you really saw in the Chiefs game, the Chiefs interception. So, yeah, that makes sense that he could be boomer bust.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right. Well, Tre Tucker definitely is getting some shout outs in press conferences, and everybody's talking about the growth of Tre Tucker, and AP has been shouting him out. So I thought I'd look into the film and kind of do the same thing. And I think Tre Tucker, it's kind of simple. I mean, he's just kind of stiff. He's a stiff guy. He's got to figure out how to get in and out of his breaks a little quicker, and you kind of see it when he's running the ball. I really didn't do anything with him running the football, but when he is running the ball, he doesn't make guys miss or anything like that. And that kind of goes into his routes as well. So he just got to figure out ways to, maybe sink his hips more or things that he's working on. But he seems like he's a hard worker, and he's got some good rapport with Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell and him have a little connection there. So, if O'Connell wins the job, let's say, or he ends up being the starter week 1, I think you're going to see a lot more Tre Tucker more than Jacoby Myers. And one of the reasons is because Tre Tucker can block. I got a couple of his blocks. I posted some of it on Twitter. The dude can block. And so if you go 12 personnel and you want to run the football and you want to be condensed or something like that, Tre can block. He doesn't have to come off the field, right? And then you can have the deep concepts off play action and things like that, and you can have him in there off of 12 personnel. So, Jacoby Myers snaps might be taken away very slowly. We'll see, but yeah, I think Tre has the ability to do that.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of we didn't even plan this, but it worked out pretty well. It's like two guys who like have shown like the boomer bust like label on them, and like we're kind of diving into like how they can become a little bit more complete players, like you're saying with Tre Tucker, like being a little bit better of a route runner and getting in and out of his breaks quicker. I remember even when we were just breaking him down during the season, that was like one of the constant themes where like we know he's got speed, we know he can take the top off the defense, but can he consistently like control it and be measured and get in and out of those cuts? So I'm interested to see what he has. And the run blocking, I was surprised. I can't say I remember too many plays of him run blocking or anything like that. Not that I paid attention to that a ton last year, but I'm excited to see what this little feisty dude can do, man. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, man. He just thinks. All right, so let's get into Tre Tucker and let's break him down here. All right, so let's get into the blocking first here, because I was just when you watch him block, I only got 2 blocks on here, but when you watch him block, it's just super interesting. I mean, he's going up against Derwin James here. You just see him just fight. He's just a fighter. Look at Derwin James is trying to get past him. Nothing he could do. I mean, this is a safety. Derwin James is like 220 pounds or something like that. He's a big dude. He's not a small guy. Yeah. Touchdown. So this is what I'm talking about. Like when you go 12 personnel and you want to run the football and run the ball outside, do some sweeps and stuff like that. Tre Tucker is somebody that will take out some wide receivers, some safeties, man. Look at Derwin James has tried his hardest to get out of that block. He just said no, threw him on the ground.
Not an easy safety to block, that's for sure. Too.
I know, man. For sure, dude. All right, so here's another one here. So this one I really like because he just gets right into 40. I mean, Jacoby Myers, I think, goes the wrong way. I mean, Tre Tucker was blocking it, and Devontae Adams didn't make a good block, so Jacoby Myers had nowhere to go. But Tre Tucker just throws this guy on the ground. See from this angle too. You just look where he has 40. He got his hands inside like he's a lineman. Look at him. He just push it. Hooper misses his block, but Tucker did his job there. I was like, man. So he can get it done. Just blocking. Look what he's doing for a wide receiver. He's pancaking guys out there. He's a strong dude.
Block better than the tight end out there.
No, man. It's hilarious, actually. All right, so here he is. What he does best is win deep, and he has a great release for his press. I think it's one thing that is really stands out about him and why he could win outside is he has a great release against press. You can see it here. He's already inside. He knows he's stemming outside in the over route, and it's a good job of selling the post and then cutting back inside. Now, talk about him being stiff a little bit. He kind of rounds us off, maybe a little bit too much, but I mean, he got enough separation already. Right there for a touchdown. So you see it here, like I said, he sells the corner route, comes back inside, beats Michael Davis, easy touchdown. He has a great release, and so the strength and everything comes into it, I believe, with his release. And I mean, you point out here, this we talk about a little bit. Sorry, this is another go route here. My bad. But you see how quick he gets off the ball too. He's gone. He's right past Derwin James. You know, O'Connell almost misses him here. But he does a good job of tracking the football. I think he does this really well. Is track the football too. That's something he does really well. And he just blew past Derwin James. He's gone. Easy money. It's just how fast he is. I mean, this could happen day one. I mean, they get 11 personnel and they get these 3 guys lined up. You give him in the slot against a safety, especially a lot of these quarters coverages and stuff like that. Yeah, man. And this dude, he's locked on Kobe Myers. You know, just because you got to remember, you know, it's cover 0 without a blitz. Basically. Coach Alexander, he said that it's just cover 0, like a jet. It's funny. All right, so here we go. Talk about his release one more time. Here he is against the Giants, and you see him stem inside here, arm over, knock down the guy's hand. He wins the fight at the line of scrimmage, and then just stacks him, and he's off to the races. You get the ball out there, and he does a good job tracking this football and making a diving catch. So what is going to make it hard and makes him deadly is when you run these go routes, is that he has this release package. He has a great release. I use the word great because you could see it there. I mean, that's pretty textbook against press coverage. He can beat press coverage. He's shown it plenty of times. Even on this rep right here, he doesn't get the football, and this is a holding call. You know, on 3rd down as well. I'm just gonna say that, but. So you see the release, the arm over, right? This guy hides a hand on him, but he does a good job of, you know, selling a corner round again. But you see the grab, pure hold, right? But if this guy doesn't hold, there's separation there that he's about to create off that release. So it's a great, like he knows exactly where he's about to go. You can see how he gets square too. Gets square first. Great release. And then you maybe could talk about there's too many steps here, and there's just a little bit of stiffness, but that guy held him. Let's see. All right, so watch him at the top here. So this is what you want more of here. There's not a lot of wasted steps in this release right here. It's more of a straight line out route. I mean, still a little bit rounded off, a little bit, but he's able to come back to the football. Make a catch. So the routes just aren't clean, right? Like he has a great release. He just doesn't have clean routes at the top. And like I said, he's just a little stiff. But when you have guys backtracking like this, it doesn't matter, to be honest. I
feel like too, he's gotten.
Go ahead.
I feel like too, he's gotten a lot better at flattening it out, like a little bit. Like you can see it on this one too. Like he starts going straight down the line versus like. I think it was like against the Dolphins that you showed where he like kind of rounded it and Ramsey was able to undercut it and pick the route. Is this the one that you're about to show?
It's good foreshadowing because I am showing that later. All right. Because here's another out route too. So, you know, he gets these guys into their, you know, their half turns right here very quickly because, you know, the threat of him beating them deep, he's able to get separation there and you can work him on these out routes outside. And then you see here, talk about the steps a little bit. You can see the stiffness. Like he even comes to like a full stop here before he can come back. And it's just not like on a flat line on a comeback or a hitch route. You just kind of see how stiff he is a little bit. But like I said, but when you're as fast as he is, like you have these guys in half turn, it doesn't matter, to be honest, as much. It's just when he gets in press coverage, like him running a comeback like this is not going to work as much. But we even see him on a route I'll show. I'm probably about to show right now that he still is tough. He's tough at the top of the route still, even when he can't get the most separation in the world. So on this route right here, where he's at the bottom right here, and this kind of shows like the chemistry that him and O'Connell already have, right? Because O'Connell already got this ball's already in the air before he turns around. But as you can see, it's like not the greatest comeback route here. But I mean, because he still hasn't got back to the ball, it's really hard for him to start and stop, right? But he's a great job of coming back to the ball and winning at the top of the stem. So he's just a physical guy. You can see how physical he just pushes this guy's forward a little bit. Even the guy tries to hold him. He does a great job of coming back to the football. So he's been working on, getting his flexibility right, man. Doing some yoga or something, and you can make it work here. Because it's routes like this one, right, where you have, I mean, of course, this is an elite corner, right? It's not gonna happen all the time, but you have a guy in half turn like this, and a guy can trust his speed, and he feels like if you were gonna start running past him, he can make it work. You gotta have a cleaner route than this, right? Because he rounds it off too much and allows elite corner to undercut it and make a great play. This dude made 2 diving interceptions, man, in this game.
Dude's good.
He's he probably Hall of Famer. Probably Hall of Famer. All right. And a little bit too is just him not being able to win at the catch point as much too. I mean, even when he is, let's say, a very strong player, a lot of play strength, you definitely want to try to come up with this ball and be able to track it a little bit in the air, make a play, use your hands. I mean, of course, this could be a better ball that could lead him, but when you're a deep threat, you're not going to get perfect passes all the time. So you got to, when you have a guy stacked, I mean, this is a good job. He has the guy stacked, so he just got to win at the catch point there.
Yeah. If I remember too, that was something he struggled with in the preseason too.
Yeah,
like when he was getting more reps.
Like I said, great release. See him get square, just go right past Michael Davis. Like that release is good. It's not very smart to press him. Let's say that. If he gets pressed, I hope that like they have like a call. They're like, I'm going straight to the go route here. And I can see it there. He just had a chance to get that ball a little bit. And him causing pass interferences here too as well. Like this is just crazy how he just runs past Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson had like a 10-yard start. Yeah. So I mean, the deep threat is there. It's just the type of guy he is, man. I mean, that's what he is. He's a deep threat for sure. But all the other stuff needs a little work, but he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine. He can't be a slot guy. Like if they're thinking of making him do like choice routes and stuff like that, that's not gonna work. They got to keep it to, kind of keep it to 4 basic routes. And I think the speed factor, and against certain teams that play a lot of quarters that don't have that safety that is special, you can get some good matchups with him off play action. You get him inside, get him condensed where he's getting some easy releases, get him matched up on safeties against some of these quarter coverages and have him eat, man. And even then, those safeties, they'll start backtracking early because of his speed, and they can run some out routes, and you can mix it up and maybe, get past some of his route running, and it won't even really matter. So that's why I like him, though. He's just tough. He's just a tough dude, man. He's just tough.
Yeah.
I didn't put in there some of those. I was going to put some of those sideline catches because I mean those are the 2 worst catches in there. But I mean those are some big catches in big games. So depending on him to like make some of those tough catches, I mean that's where it gets a little difficult with him too. But I think there's a lot you can do with him. Like he's fine. If he takes away targets from Jacoby Myers, I'm cool with that. I'm not going to be worried.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things, just like generally speaking about Tucker, is like kind of touched on this a little bit too. Like his growth from like the preseason, like if you remember, he struggled with the drops. I mean, he still has some issues like that we saw up, like making those contested catches, which I don't know if will ever really be that'll be a big part of his game, just his pure size. But I felt like I got really encouraged with how he kind of just developed and like got better throughout the season. I mean, you showed it a little bit too with his route running and how that kind of improved over just the course of a year. So I feel like that's another big reason why to get excited about this dude and why the arrow's pointing up on him for sure.
Yeah, man. I think if he can clean it up, it's gonna be hard to stop him because he's such a deep threat. And like him versus press is impressive. That's kind of the favorite thing that I like to watch from him is he is great against press coverage outside. So if you have a corner that's going to press him, he's tough too. So you're not gonna just be able to bully him off the line, right? You're not gonna be able to just move him. So he's a strong guy. He looks like he's in pretty good damn shape. So he's gonna be able to fight through press coverage. And then when he stacks you got to win downfield, especially if it turns into a post route. If he gets into how to run post routes and sell corners like he did with some of those earlier plays versus Michael Davis, man, it's gonna be hard to stop him, especially in the red zone if you can run some over routes and do some things with him like that.
Yeah. I think the other part of it too is like with a lot of those like smaller speed receivers, like one of the biggest questions is can they beat press coverage, and he can already check that box, which is huge.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's get into some Jack Jones.
So, all right. So, like I said, going to go over one of his worst games, Jack Jones's worst games last year with the Raiders, going up against the Vikings. And again, he's going to line up in press coverage. I think that's where he's most comfortable is playing press or playing at least in man coverage. But one thing that I feel like I mentioned in the intro is he does whack a little bit of situational awareness. Like this is 4th and 2, and he's in press coverage right here, but he doesn't get any hands on the receiver and kind of just lets KJ Osborne get this free release. And you got to expect the short routes coming, right? Because short yardage situation, they run a little mesh concept where he's on the short drag, and he ends up just losing the foot race across the other side of the field. And it's just so hard to defend these type of routes when you don't get physical and you don't get hands on them in this situation. Because again, eventually they're going to probably outrun you. And especially with no pass rush, like you almost have no chance. And the Vikings end up going up and picking up the 4th down conversion there. See it a little bit here from the back end. Give a little bit of a look. Like, yeah, you can see like he's not in a bad spot. And then just here, he just kind of loses them because again, it's hard to play catch up at that point, especially in this league. This time, see another rep here in man coverage, get a little bit of motion to kind of mess with the communication on the defense. A pick route here from the Vikings, so it's a tough concept, a good man beater, but again, at the same time, like I don't know exactly how the Raiders are playing this. I don't think they were looking to switch at this, but when you see this guy coming at you or you see this bunch formation, you kind of want to have an alert in your head saying, yeah, there's probably some sort of rub. There's probably something going on. So let me stay wide. And again, it's a little bit of team defense too. You hope when Meek Robertson stays wide too, so he can help you on an out route. But instead, he kind of gets a little bit too close. Like you can see, he's almost, if he doesn't hit the receiver, he's probably picking, or he's probably running into a Meek here too. Again, it's just an easy pitch and catch to go pick up another conversion. So a little bit of the situational awareness that I think is lacking with him that he can get better at. This time we're going to see him in man. Now, again, boomer bust type of player. We'll see him probably pick a ball off like this, and he picks that off. He's scoring at this situation, but it's a good example of, hey, when the timing's just not quite there and you don't make that play, it ends up leading to a big play and a first down. I mean, end up getting 20 yards here. We'll see it from the end zone view too, just how close he was, but it's a tough one. But again, just kind of figuring out that timing and being that boomer bust type of player where it can come back to haunt you. Also, would like to see him try and make this tackle at the very least and stay upright. Addison does a good job of getting low and working through the contact, but part of the issue or part of the problem with his game. Now this time, gonna get a little switch, get a little motion by the Vikings so they can get the double move, or they can not the double move, so that they can get Justin Jefferson, the highest paid non-quarterback in the league now, on Jack Jones, who's just been there for a couple weeks.
Oof.
So they get the matchup they want, and I believe the Raiders are playing quarters here, maybe. Yeah, it looks like quarters. Cover 4, which is basically man coverage, like, right? Cover 1 or cover 0 with no blitz. And, like, you can see, too, like, the biggest problem is he lets Jefferson stack him at this point, or he lets Jefferson square him up instead of playing with, like, outside leverage and forcing him into the safety help. I think this is actually cover 1, misspoke there. But, like, you can see, like, and then when Jefferson fakes to the outside, he starts to go with him. And I mean, against a savvy route runner like that, dude, like good luck. And this is actually the rep that Marcus Epps took out Jefferson on, but which is a nice hit by him. But again, the other thing I wanted to point out too is it almost looks like at one point he starts to maybe look at this back and like see him, like his eyes. I don't even know. Like Jefferson hasn't even faked to the outside yet, and maybe he's just biting hard on that fake. But to me, like when I first watched this, I'm like, is he looking at the back? Is that, and that's a little bit of what I'm talking about with the eyes, but
yeah, it looks like he is.
Yeah.
You're right. That's quarters. You're right. It looks funny.
Quarters at Kasha.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Either way. Yeah. Tough one. Here we're going to see him in cover 3. Now this one isn't entirely on him. Like I've talked about before, we play zone coverage in the NFL back to front, so he is taking away the deeper route. But at the same time, we do have Nate Hobbs to help on this guy, and we just leave the back wide open. And that makes it a tougher tackle. Ends up missing the tackle and giving up the first down here. He had 5 missed tackles for the Raiders last year, which I think came out to, 17% via PFF. So definitely another area of his game that he's got to clean up. He had plenty of big hits and plenty of nice tackles, and we'll see one later. But the consistency, again, to be able to make that play. Again, not completely putting this one on him. This is a tough one because he is taking care of the deeper route. But at the same time, I'd like to see him be a little bit more of a football player, and especially when Dobbs starts to look that way, or I don't know who that is, that quarterback, maybe come off that a little bit sooner, and just see the full field more to be that cornerback one. This one was the one that I think really kind of highlighted him staring in the backfield too long. Again, cover 3 look again, but like if you watch his eyes, like he never stops looking at the quarterback. And what happens? They run it out, and at this point, he's got his back turned to it. And now that the ball's out, now he sees it, but it's way too late. I mean, that's an easy first down. I don't know if he'll be able to prevent this completion or get a PBU, but I think if he at least takes a peek and sees this outside release from Osborne and widens himself, he could be in a better position to at least contest the catch and make it a harder catch instead of leaving the guy wide open. And on top of it, too, I'd like to see Hobbs get a little more physical and get a reroute to give him a little bit more time and disrupt the timing of that route. But still, like, we'll see this pretty consistently where he just kind of gets caught with his eyes in the backfield. Another rep here. They loved motioning. We've seen it, I think, 2 or 3 times already. They loved whenever they're motioning on his side to kind of screw with his communication. Again, the new guy, so not a bad strategy. Like you'll see here, like kind of the same thing. And he even bites on the little fake screen here. I believe the Raiders are running match 3 here because obviously not man with Hobbs playing the screen here. So doesn't quite communicate the switch. And then again, it looks like eyes probably on the quarterback, but I mean, he's eyeing more of number 3 here versus number 2 that ends up being his man and just leaving him wide open. Now, this ball was terribly thrown late and it ended up being a drop, so he got away with it a little bit here, but I'm not going to rely on this because we all know how the Vikings quarterback situation played out last season. Again, it's just the little things of like, where are your eyes? Where are you locating your threats? Are you finding guys? Or are you covering grass? And like right here, I mean, he's covering 30 in the 25-yard line right there. All right, got to move on to some positive clips. Now this one, the beautifully timed blitz. And again, this is the open field tackle I'm talking about. When he's on and he times up the snap, he's got great speed and ends up just beating Addison across Addison's face. and going and getting a TFL. So again, even his bad game, he still had plenty of good plays here. See it from the end zone view. Just come down, crash hard. I mean, a much better tackle. Would still like to see him be a little bit more under control. But hey, when you're blitzing and you got 5 or 4 defensive linemen and 2 or 3 linebackers coming down too, you can afford to take the risk a little bit more. This one was a much better read this time, and it probably helped because it was backfield action basically with this tight end or whatever. I think that actually might be Osborne. Wide receiver that's basically aligned like a tight end working across the formation. So here's where actually staring at the backfield helps him out a little bit more because he ends up seeing that and then coming down and crashing. Now, again, would like to see him come up with this tackle, but at the same time, I'll take a guy that comes down, reads it, makes a big collision, and lets his teammates do the cleanup work. But would like to see him finish that on his own just for the future. This one's going to be a much better rep coming down and closing. See, now granted the receiver or the running back caught this, maybe double caught this or caught this funky. But you can see, compare that to that cover 3 rep earlier where he was just kind of late and kind of overplayed this curl route. They try to come back to it and he ends up reading it a little bit faster, crashing, and then coming up and making a much better open field tackle to limit this to a 2-yard gain.
Mm-hmm.
This is perfect. This is what we want to see more of, and that's just what he needs to be more consistent with. And again, part of it could be picking up a playbook mid-season and trying to figure it out. So it does give you some more comfortability heading into this year with having a full off season. Mm-hmm. This is my favorite play he made of this game. It's going to be the last one we'll wrap up with here. This was in the beginning of the game too, because Jefferson's still in, and he's lined up in man coverage. So Vikings got the matchup they want. And this is what I was talking about too, where he's going to read the quarterback, and this is where it ends up working out for him. Reads the quarterback, sees the quick 3-step drop, and him open to right to Jefferson. And look, he's already breaking on it, and quarterback's barely in his throwing motion at this point. He breaks. I don't even know if Dobbs has both hands off the ball at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He makes a great play and is in a perfect position to maybe get that 3rd pick 6 if he can hold on to it and stay on his feet. So again, he's going to have plenty of opportunities, and he'll put himself in a position to make those splash plays and be that Teron Diggs, Deron Bland type of player where he can put points up on the board on his own or create some turnovers. It's just a matter of being more consistent, and I think getting his eyes in the right spot more consistently. That was one of the biggest things, like I said, is take a peek, see what threats are coming into your area instead of just staring at the backfield the entire time. But on the other end of that is he is going to look at the quarterback and get a jump on a route every now and again.
You get some picks, right? Well, I mean, they need a playmaker, right? They do. They do need a playmaker. Yeah, I mean, because when you point those things out, I mean, a lot of those things happen in the Colts game. I mean, some of those. I mean, it wasn't just him. I mean, it seems like sometimes those guys got kind of lost at times of what they're trying to do, and or him trying to make a play, he jumps something, he's like, oh crap, and he has to get back. So those things were happening, later on in the season. So it is a pattern there. But I mean, I think, I mean, when you have a player like that obviously he watches film and he does a lot of those film work. I think with more control and getting into with AP, I think you could see there is some upside there, right? So I mean, he's either he can have 7 picks this year, or he just might give up about 800 yards, and that's okay at times. Because to be honest, I think that when we look at guys and use their coverage stats and some of those things, yeah, I mean it could hurt you in the long run, right? At some point, but also if you get 7 picks, I mean that's a lot of interceptions. So yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a I'd rather deal with that than a guy who gets beat and just knocks the ball down. That's what I would. That's how I look at it. If you're gonna get
deal
beat,
with that, then Brandon
give me 8 interceptions. Exactly. If you're not gonna be Sauce Gardner, right? I'll take Deron Bland. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because he had 5 touchdowns. That's about.
I think he set the NFL record with 5. So
that's 35 points by himself.
Yeah, that'll work.
or what 30 points. Sorry if somebody wants to get technical. The 6 touchdowns. But so yeah, so that's something that you could deal with. That's a gift and a curse I could deal with. I'll be all right with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the only thing that makes me worried is I mean, typically I'm kind of the guy like I want my cornerback one to be the shutdown guy versus the boomer bust player, but again, I'm not going to complain about a guy that can that got 2 pick sixes in the matter of what 6 or 7 starts or whatever it was, or 7 games played. Like, you got to take a little bit of the good with the bad. But again, it's just can he be more consistent? And two, like I said, like I do have to cut him some slack a lot, or I do have to cut him quite a bit of slack for having to pick up the playbook in the matter of a few weeks and getting thrown into the fire a little bit there too. So maybe there's more room for optimism with now I'll have a full off season and go through OTAs, mini camp, and training camp with the Raiders and get to learn Patrick Graham's system a little bit more and get some more familiarity with the guys he's working with.
Yeah. I guess we can call him a temporarily closed corner because it's not a shutdown, but it could open up.
Yeah. That is true. I guess the best way to make sure guys don't throw your way is to keep picking the ball off. So there's that.
Yeah. And like I said, in big time games though, and in the division games, he balled. So I'm not going to be like, too worried about him because I know he's going to make some plays, or that even if there's some mistakes on film. I mean, I'm sure it drove Bill Belichick nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure it did. Yeah. Sure, Bill's just ripping his hair out. Like, you're not supposed to be there, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. All made sense in my head why he's not with the Patriots anymore. All right. So that is today's episode. Did Jack Jones and Tre Tucker. Hope you guys liked that episode. The Isaiah Palomar and Thayer Mumford still very fresh. Go ahead, check that one out if you didn't like. If you want to go check those guys out, we keep busting out all these players. And we got Aiden O'Connell on another one. Aiden O'Connell and I forgot who you did on that one, but
I think that was Bennett, Jacorian Bennett.
Jacorian Bennett. So yeah, you got some stuff, man, some content you guys can look at throughout the summer, and get used to what's going to happen with some of these players that we got on this roster, and we'll keep it rolling. So and also make sure you cop a t-shirt, hit the QR code there, leave it up there, boom, hit that pause button, use the QR code, cop a shirt, and support the channel. And we are out of here, guys. Peace.